Okay, welcome to the video, guys. All this is going to be is just explaining why I've laid out the map the way I have, explaining a few of the tactics on the bosses so you can get an idea of what I sort of want from sort of the dungeons, raids, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, pretty much that's it. I'll also be explaining a few things along the line that I'll be changing about like the general gameplay. First off, when you die in the game, even at level 1, you don't lose EXP, skills, or items. You don't require an AOL, nothing like that. When you die, you release your body to a graveyard. You'll then be asked to pay a fee for resurrection. What will happen is, if you're level 1, obviously that'll be free. Anywhere up to level 25, that'll be free. At level 25, because what I'm doing is I'm adding a kind of like a rook guard, but you'll be able to kill some pretty cool monsters while you're there. There'll be a dungeon or two while you're there. Just getting used to the way the game is played. All the resurrection fees will be free. No PvP whatsoever on the starter island. Yeah, it's just a good feel. But at level 150, you're then talking per death. You're probably talking about, well, I'm hoping for about 1000 gold to 5000 gold per resurrection. Um, what will happen though is when you kill monsters and do quests, all that sort of thing in different zones, different dungeons, you get reputation. You'll be able to view this by typing exclamation point stats and going down to your reputation bar. This will tell you all your reputation standards. The higher reputation you are, the cheaper it is to resurrect in that city, in that zone or dungeon. Also cheaper to buy items from the NPCs. You also get higher rewards from quests because you've got a higher reputation with them. And you'll also be able to sell your items for a lot more money in the vendors or NPCs, whatever you want to call them. Now, I haven't decorated this area that well yet, but this is pretty much the entrance to the instance. You'll come through a teleport that'll be in a pretty much like in a cave or something. I don't really know where we're going to put it yet, but you'll end up here. Now, this is just like the start little zone. Not going to be all that much here. A few shops, whatnot. Only the essentials. This building in front of me right now will be locked. This will be locked until the update when we add a new dungeon. What will happen is you'll be required to have killed every boss in this dungeon to walk past this door, and then you can start the next dungeon. It's pretty much just making sure that you know how to play the game by now and you're sort of ready. I might decide to code it so that as long as any one of your characters on your account has done all the bosses here, then you can go through it, or say a mix of characters, say you healed some on a druid, then some of the bosses you DPS'd on a sorcerer. As long as they add up to all the bosses, then I might make it so you can still pass the door on them characters. But that's for another time and place. This building here will be where you start the dungeon. Now, the way I'm building it is completely different to World of Warcraft, purely because 2BA just doesn't have the systems in place to handle dungeons like World of Warcraft does. So this will work. So you'll talk to the NPC. She'll greet you, obviously. She'll now ask you, are you sure you want to make a team for this dungeon? Now, if you're already in a team, you can't make another team for that same dungeon group size. So if I have a group for this dungeon 10 man, I can only make a 25 man, or I can leave my 10 man here. If I leave my 10 man, all that means is the leader of that 10 man team, when he asks this vendor to see his list of teammates so that he can invite them to the raid, so if you're doing it over 2-3 days, you wouldn't appear on that list anymore. You won't be able to enter that instance till the next week when it resets. It resets every Monday because you've already been inside there. Unless you haven't already been inside there and saved it, then you can join a new one. But yeah, you'll talk to this NPC. She'll now say which size raid do you want to start. I'm just gonna example. You say 10 man. Now she say please list the 10 players that you wish to have in your team. well, sorry, 9 players because of yourself. So you'll say a name, she'll say okay, next name, you'll say another name, and you'll go like that. Now you can say goodbye at any time and stop the list and come back and complete the list later if you're just making the team ready for tonight and you haven't got every member ready yet. What that'll do is that'll send a message to each of those players that you listed. They have to be online to add them to the team. That'll send a message to them to accept or reject the invitation to that save. If you've already done some bosses in the raid, they'll also be notified of how many bosses has been killed, so they can make a informed decision whether it's worth getting saved with you or finding a new party. In this shop here, this will be your main shop. You'll have potions dude, where you can sort of get health potions, mana potions, etc. You'll also have ruins, and you'll also be able to sell some of the junk from trash monsters. You'll hear me refer to trash monsters a lot. They're just monsters that we add between bosses to sort of give you a break between the bosses, so you're not constantly sort of on alert and what have you, so you can have a bit of a laugh. Yeah. Over here you'll have the food shop. Uh, Food will work differently in Nisuchi server. When you eat it, you'll automatically get sort of a certain amount of health that won't be ticking over a certain amount of time. And what will happen is regen will be from your health regen will be from HP 5, which is health per 5 seconds, and mana regen will be from MP5, which is mana per 5 seconds, as well as spirit if you're a mage or a druid. Stamina will also give you a little bit of regen if you're a knight or if you're a druid tank. Not huge amounts, but a little bit. Stamina's mainly just to give you more health. Um, also, food buffs. You'll be able to buy here special raid food buffs that you won't be able to lay down anywhere else other than a raid or a dungeon. Now that doesn't mean that you can't buy it here and then go to a different dungeon and lay it down. That just means you can't buy it here and then go to POI and lay it down and eat it there. What I mean by lay it down is when you click use on it, it places it underneath you on the floor. Now that can be used up to 50 times now while it sits on the floor, but so your whole team can use it, and that's up to 2 times. That's just in case a few people click on it by mistake more than once, so it doesn't disappear after 25 uses and you gotta lay down 2 and whatnot. This food won't give you any health or mana. This will just give you a buff, which gives you extra spell power, which for a sorcerer is like extra damage, extra magic level. For druid healers, paladin healers, that'll mean you get extra healing. So when you heal people, that'll be higher. Also spell power. You'll get stamina, which is health. You'll also get attack power, which is melee DPS, which is warrior DPS or a paladin DPS. This will raise all your skills by a certain percent depending on how big the buff is. These aren't the best food buffs you can buy, but they are okay. You won't be able to eat normal food in a dungeon to avoid people abusing it and not taking healers, just hotkeying their food and spamming it, so etc. You get the idea.